Hey guys, it's MMA Vulture coming at you live with this week's best UFC bets for UFC 311 Makhachev vs Tsarukyan 2, the rematch. And let's go ahead and jump right into it with my lock of the week being Peyton Talbot over Raoni Barcelos. I think that Peyton Talbot is going to destroy Raoni Barcelos. Raoni Barcelos has been knocked out by Umar Nurmagomedov. He has just been looking a lot slower and just awkward and clunky on the feet, just not the same. He's coming to the later end of his career. He just really hasn't been looking the same as before. And now you have on the other side somebody in Peyton Talbot who is up and coming. He's surging. He is a very highly skilled prospect with devastating knockout power. He's got quick hands. He mixes up his shots really well. He's got clean, quick combinations. I am going with Peyton Talbot over Raoni Barcelos. I think that it's going to end inside the distance. I think that Peyton Talbot is going to get the finish. I could see him getting a club and sub. I could see him getting a club and dub, just knocking him out. And that's how I see this fight going, to be completely honest. I think Barcelos is going to try and grapple and try and close the distance, but I think that Peyton Talbot is kind of going to maintain that distance, kind of pepper him from the outside and wait for Barcelos to make that mistake when he closes in and find that nasty right or left hand and put him clean out. I am going with Peyton Talbot by knockout. I like the inside the distance to be a little bit safer just in case if he gets a club and sub, sitting at a negative 260, or you could go with the knockout because he's got the devastating knockout power at negative 190. I think Peyton Talbot is definitely a lock for this week. I think that Raoni Barcelos is a skilled fighter, but just coming to the later end of his career, just not looking as good or as sharp as usual. And on the other side, you just have somebody who is up and coming with very, very high skill. So I am going with Peyton Talbot over Raoni Barcelos. And let's go ahead and get to my most confident picks of this week. As you guys can see here, we got my 4 most confident picks in Renato Moicano first versus Beneil Dariush. And I have Renato Moicano over Dariush because he has insane grappling skills. Yes, Dariush has good grappling skills too. He's no bum, no slouch. But I just think that Moicano is better in terms of quicker transitions. He's a lot better on the ground in terms of scrambling as well. I think that he's just better in general in the grappling department. I think in terms of striking, he's got the speed advantage. Explosiveness, I think he's more explosive. He's also going to be quicker than Beneil. I think Beneil has been looking slower, has just been looking a little bit dull on the feet as of lately. He's been brutally knocked out twice by Tsarukyan and Oliveira. So just 2 very highly skilled opponents that got rid of Dariush, and Dariush is looking to make a comeback here. But in a recent interview earlier this week, he even said that if he doesn't have it, he's gonna retire. So he already has retirement on his mind, and that is not something you want to have in your mind going into a camp or going into a fight. So that is something that you should note. I think Moicano is going to be in the better headspace. He is very underappreciated, very undervalued. So he is coming in here and he is looking for blood. And that is why I'm going with Renato Moicano to beat Beneil Dariush. I think it's going to be close, but I think that Moicano is going to get the better of him and win it. And then let's throw it to my next confident pick in Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. And I am going with Islam Makhachev because he is a pound for a pound. Nobody can touch him. You have Arman Tsarukyan, who had a hell of a time with Charles Oliveira, barely won it in the sense that he almost got choked out. His shorts came off, which is kind of one of the reasons he got out of the choke. And if that happens with Islam, he is not getting out of that choke. In no way, shape, or form is he getting out of that choke. The shorts aren't coming off. Islam is locking it in and squeezing as hard as he can, and he is putting him out. And then the second thing is if you guys go and look on my channel, it actually looks like Arman Tsarukyan actually does have staph infection. So that is something that is huge. He could have he could be a lot more tired, a lot more fatigued in this, and just feeling the signs of staph infection. So that is something that you should definitely note. Arman Tsarukyan lost in their first match. Yes, he's had 6 years to develop. So has Islam Makhachev, who has been developing his striking game and beat one of the best strikers in the division in Dustin Poirier. And then you have Arman Tsarukyan, who has been looking good in terms of his fighting, in terms of beating Oliveira, beating other guys. But again, like I said, he has been getting better. But so has Islam. So I still think that Islam's going to beat him, especially with him having staph infection. It's definitely going to affect his fight game. So I got to go with Islam Makhachev over Arman Tsarukyan. Sitting at a negative 370, I get the odds are very wide, but I think that Islam Makhachev is definitely going to beat him. And I think as this fight goes on, it's going to favor Islam Makhachev more. And let's go ahead and move along to my next confident pick in Umar Nurmagomedov over Merab Dvalishvili. And the reason why I'm picking Umar is because his striking. He has a really good striking game. He is very versatile on the feet with his kicks, with his punches. He mixes in his striking with his grappling really well. So not only can he stop Merab from taking him down to the ground, he can also strike way better than Merab. So he can literally just snub Merab's takedowns. Yes, Merab is going to continuously try and chain wrestle and try and eat away at the energy of Umar, but I think that Umar will be able to snub his takedowns, will be able to land the better strikes for sure and damage more, and use those kicks to also kind of maintain that distance on Merab. Because yes, Umar has the grappling skills, but maybe he doesn't want to go to the grappling, and maybe he wants to keep it on the feet where he has the clear-cut advantage over Merab. To be completely honest, he has the clear-cut striking advantage. He's quicker. He's got a lot more tools in his bag, if you want to say, tools in his arsenal. So I'm going with Umar Nurmagomedov over Merab. I will say this, though. As this fight goes on, I do believe that it favors Merab over Umar, because Umar can get a little bit slower and a little bit tired, and that's where Merab will have a little bit more of an advantage over him. But I think that Umar will get the first couple of rounds. I think that he'll be smart in surviving and not trying to deplete or waste too much of his energy. And I think that he'll get the better of Merab Dvalishvili in a very tit-for-tat close fight. I think that it's going to be a very back-and-forth fight, in which I think Umar Nurmagomedov is going to get the better of Merab Dvalishvili. And let's move right along to the last confident pick I have in Bogdan Guskov over Billy Elikana. Billy Elikana is making his debut. He's going up against a top 14, because he's number 14 in the UFC, in Bogdan Guskov, and I think that Bogdan Guskov is going to absolutely murk him. If you go and watch Billy Elikana, his striking is all right. I mean, it's pretty mediocre, to be completely honest. And it's just sometimes awkward and clunky, whereas you have Bogdan Guskov, who is relatively good in terms of striking. He's got knockout power. He's got good footwork. He moves around really well for his weight. Not only that, he mixes up his shots really well, and although he is a headhunter, he tends to land those headshots, and his opponents tend to not get up. So I'm going with Bogdan Guskov to knock out Billy Elikana in devastating fashion, and I think it's going to be brutal. And let's go ahead and throw it to my underdog picks of this week in Yuri Prochazka and Eileen Perez. We're going to start off with Yuri Prochazka first over Jamal Hill. I think Yuri is going to beat Jamal Hill. I think that Yuri, though tends to get hit, he can deliver a hit that's 10 times, and his opponents tend to not get up. And not only that, if you guys go back and watch Jamal Hill, in his fights, he tends to keep his hands fairly low. And so does Yuri Prochazka. I'm not saying he keeps his hands up high either, but Jamal Hill keeps his hands just as low as Yuri Prochazka and tends to get hit as well. And not only that, who are Jamal Hill's notable wins over? An old Glover Teixeira and then a Johnny Walker, who is very mediocre. I mean, guy's chin is glass. And then you have on the other side Yuri Prochazka, who's going up against really good fighters in Glover Teixeira, Jan Blachowicz. I mean, he's gone up against some really good light heavyweights. And I think that Yuri Prochazka is going to beat Jamal Hill. I think that he's slicker on the feet. I think that he could counter-strike Jamal Hill, as Jamal Hill's being a little bit too aggressive. Not only that, I feel like Jamal Hill is in this headspace where I don't think he's fully like focused on the fight game. Like, I really don't. He's been going back and forth with Alex Pereira. He's been going back and forth with the fans, as well as offering fans $20,000 a fight. So obviously the fans are getting into his head, and he's definitely feeling the pressure. So I wonder how that's going to affect him in his fight against Yuri Prochazka. I'm going to be honest. I think that it's going to be a very close fight, but I think that Yuri Prochazka is going to knock him out. I think that Jamal Hill has let all this talk get to him, and I think that Yuri Prochazka is a better skill for skill fighter than Jamal Hill. Yes, Yuri tends to get hit and likes to get hit sometimes because he puts his head forward sometimes and lets them hit him, but here, I think that Yuri is stronger. I think he's more powerful. I think that he is going to beat Jamal Hill in devastating fashion and knock him out. So give me Yuri Prochazka, be a knockout over Jamal Hill. And then let's move to the next underdog pick in Eileen Perez over Quero Rosa. And the reason I'm picking Eileen Perez is because I think that she has a clear-cut grappling advantage. I believe that she's going to be able to take down Quero Rosa and be able to maintain control of her, be able to garner control time over her, even be able to advance positions. I think that she's quicker in transitions over Quero Rosa. Not only that, the only really worry I have is the stand-up game. I think Eileen Perez can fare well in the stand-up game in be just as good as Quero Rosa in the striking, to be completely honest. I think Quero Rosa is a little bit better in the striking in terms of selectively choosing her shots better. I think Eileen Perez at times can get a little bit wild and chaotic, though I still think that she's going to be able to fare well in the striking department against Quero Rosa, and even better in the grappling department, getting her down and garnering the control time. So give me Eileen Perez over Quero Rosa. And I think that Eileen Perez is going to get it done for sure. And if you guys haven't, make sure you guys hit that like button and the subscribe button. And let's throw it to my parlays of this week. And as you guys see, as these parlays get down lower, they start getting more and more riskier and more degen, so just keep that in mind. And let's go ahead and throw it to the first parlay of the evening in Makhachev moneyline and Guskov moneyline. Like I said, Makhachev is going up against Arman Tsarukyan, who I believe had a very close, tough fight, obviously, with Charles Oliveira, whereas Islam got rid of him. Not only that, Arman looks like he possibly has staph infection, so we don't know how that's going to go in his fight, because he's definitely going to be feeling it, fatigue, all the signs of staph infection. So I believe that Makhachev definitely has an advantage. Not only that, Makhachev is somebody that is consistently improving his skills and getting better. I mean, he just went toe-to-toe with the best striker in the division in Dustin Poirier and beat him in striking. And then we have Guskov, who's going up against Billy Elikana, who is making his UFC debut, and who really just hasn't been up against the level of competition that Guskov has, and is going to get absolutely torched. He has been in the PFL, he's been in these lower rankings and been up against these kind of mediocre fighters, whereas Guskov is going up against the best of the best. He's in the top 15 of the UFC, and he's going to absolutely starch Billy Elikana in his UFC debut. And then let's move to the next parlay, and that parlay is a negative 147, and I believe that's a safe parlay. And then we got the next parlay in Makhachev moneyline, Talbot inside the distance at negative 129, and I believe that's safe as well. I think that Makhachev is going to beat Tsarukyan because of the staph infection. I think Talbot is going to beat Raoni Barcelos because Barcelos is coming to the later end of his career, just looking slower. And then you have an up-and-coming star in Peyton Talbot with devastating knockout power and just highly skilled in every aspect of the fight game. So I got to go with Peyton Talbot. And then we got the next parlay in Moicano moneyline, Nurmagomedov moneyline at plus 111. Plus money, great odds right there. I think Umar beats Merab. And I think Moicano beats Beneil Dariush. I think that one's going to be a close fight, but I think Moicano is going to be able to get the better of Dariush. And then let's throw it to the next parlay in Talbot under 2.5. Guskov by knockout or technical knockout at plus 142. Great odds right there. I think Guskov is going to knock out Billy Elikana, who's taking this on short notice and who has just not been up against the level of competition that Guskov has. And then Talbot under 2.5. I think he starches Raoni Barcelos early. And I think it ends before round 3 for sure, or round 2 maybe even. And then we got the next parlay in the OVEV parlay in Ulanbekov moneyline, Guskov moneyline, Nurmagomedov moneyline, and Makhachev moneyline at plus 196. The OV and the EVs. I skipped a couple OV and EVs that I did not believe in Asmat Bakoyev. And then, who's the other one that I skipped? Oh, Moin Gafarov skipped as well. I don't believe those two really deserve to be in there. I don't see them winning, to be completely honest. And then let's throw it to the next parlay in Moyakano moneyline, Prohashka moneyline at plus 230. Great odds. I see Prohashka beating Jamal Hill. I think Jamal Hill doesn't have the skills that Prohashka has. I think that Prohashka will be able to beat him from the outside and outstrike him and knock him out. And I believe Moyakano will beat Benil Dariush. And then let's start to the next parlay in Guskov moneyline, Prohashka moneyline, Makhachev moneyline at plus 253. Great odds for those three. And then let's throw it to the next D-Gen parlay in Perez moneyline and Talbot inside the distance. I think Eileen Perez can beat Caro Rosa with her clear-cut grappling advantage. And I think Peyton Talbot is just going to be too much for Raoni Barcelos. And let's move along to the next parlay in Moyakano moneyline, Talbot inside the distance, Prohashka by knockout or technical knockout sitting at a plus 527. That is a D-Gen parlay, but I think it's live to hit, to be completely honest. I see each and every one of those hitting. I really do. And then we got the underdog parlay of the week in Perez moneyline and Prohashka moneyline at plus 551. Crazy odds. Obviously, D-Gen parlay right there, the underdog D-Gen parlay. But I see it hitting. I really do. Perez with the clear-cut grappling advantage. Prohashka with the outside striking advantage over Jamal Hill. I think that they could both get it done in their fights. And then we got the next super D-Gen parlay in Moyakano moneyline, Makhachev moneyline, Guskov by knockout or technical knockout, and then Prohashka by knockout or technical knockout at plus 851. That is the super D-Gen prop, or super D-Gen parlay of this week. And then we got the max D-Gen parlay in Reese moneyline, Prohashka moneyline, and Perez moneyline at plus 1700. And I think that this could hit. You got 3 underdogs that I believe are live to hit. And if you guys haven't, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.